Welcome back to another episode of Season Tickets. I'm Michael.
And I'm Max.
The Fairview basketball team lost to Columbia over break, and they will play Oberlin on Tuesday.
The Fairview wrestling team had another meet over break on the 27th and the 28th.
And the girls basketball team lost by 1 to Brooklyn, 39-38. And now we are going into our college basketball recap of all the big games that happened over break. Max, what happened in the Virginia-Villanova game?
Virginia beat Villanova by 10 points in a key non-conference game, as the Cavs have been perfect since an early loss to George Washington.
And Butler beat Purdue in a key in-state battle as Butler shot the lights out. But Purdue did rebound with a win over Vandy, and I don't even know what to say about this Vandy team. They just can't win a close game against a solid team. It's just horrible to watch. They just lost to LSU, and I think Ben Simmons shot about 70 free throws in that game. They just can't rebound the basketball. I think we had 3 offensive rebounds in the whole game and 2 second chance points, and if you do that against even an average team like LSU, you're not going to have a chance to win even at home. Just unacceptable effort from Vandy, and I'm totally lost for words. But let's just continue on with the show.
Iowa State came back to beat Cincinnati to win another key out-of-conference battle for the Big 12, as they look like the best conference in college basketball this season with Iowa State, Oklahoma, and Kansas.
Louisville and Kentucky played a hard-fought rivalry game, which the Wildcats did prevail, but there was lots of speculation after the game as Louisville coach Rick Pitino possibly flicked off a fan after the loss, which was kind of a bizarre story after such a great game between two blue bloods of college basketball. But now let's go into some of the Big East games.
Well, before we get to that, speaking of Kentucky, how about those Ohio State Buckeyes? I mean, they haven't lost since. I mean, they could be on a roll, but who knows? They're probably going to get killed soon. But Villanova crushed Xavier, as Xavier couldn't catch a break after losing a star freshman injury, and Villanova shot red hot from beyond the arc to get the win.
Xavier and Providence both got solid wins over Butler, as the Bulldogs have struggled to defend in Big East play early this season.
Kansas blew out Baylor by scoring over 100 points once again this season, as the Jayhawks have risen to first in the AP poll.
Oklahoma and Iowa State fought a really hard-fought game, but the Sooners did get the win at home over the Cyclones, with all Big 12 players Georges Niang and Bubby Hield having some nice games. This does set up a 1-2 matchup in Kansas versus Oklahoma. This show is being recorded before the game, so that's a really solid game that I'm really excited on. And once again, the show will come out after the game, but this is recorded before the game. We already made our picks in the last episode. But Max, let's go into some bowl games.
So Toledo ran all over Temple in the Boca Raton Bowl in a game we both called, with the Max showing some strength this bowl season outside of Bowling Green.
And Houston surprisingly beat Florida State, as Seminoles star Dalvin Cook really struggled with the Cougars' defense, and Tom Herman, the former Ohio State offensive coordinator, is really building a solid program at Houston. It will be interesting to see how much longer he can remain the head coach at Houston and how long they can keep him, because if they keep him for another 3-4 years, they could definitely be in some more New Year's Six games.
Oh, yeah, especially with how many people they return next year. But how about Ohio State? Even without star Joey Bosa for a poor targeting penalty, and also missing 2 other starters in Adolphus Washington and Tommy Scott. But Joey Bosa looked like he was going to break his neck. He got ejected for being an idiot. But Jalen Smith was also hurt. So the 2 best overall players in this game played like 6 plays each. So, if you were looking for that, you watched the wrong game. But Zeke Elliott just had a monster game as his going out party. And I'm going to miss him at Ohio State, but they beat Notre Dame 44-28.
And Tennessee blew out Northwestern, while Michigan did the same to Florida in 2 Big Ten SEC battles. These were some poor matchups in my opinion, as I think Tennessee should have played Michigan while Northwestern should have played Florida. And I do think those would have been much closer games and much better matchups overall. But Max, let's go into the Rose Bowl. What happened in that game?
Stanford blew out Iowa, and this is another poor matchup because the people wanted to see Ohio State Stanford. I mean Ohio State and Notre Dame are 2 high-profile programs, but Notre Dame had been hobbled by injuries, and it was pretty obvious that Ohio State was going to whoop that team. Stanford, Ohio State would have been probably a great game to watch, but Christian McCaffrey from the start of the game just went off, and the Hawkeyes were just outmatched by them. And one fan after the game even mentioned his argument for the Heisman snub of McCaffrey.
Yeah, that was kind of funny, but what if the college football playoff was 6 teams and Stanford and Ohio State played in the college football playoff? They both beat Michigan State and Oklahoma, and the final 4 would be Clemson, Alabama, Stanford, and Ohio State. That would have been a lot more interesting than seeing 2 blowouts in the college football playoff this season. But let's continue back. Ole Miss beat down on Oklahoma State as the Rebels controlled the game from start to finish, as their size differential was a major
key.
A key to success is dominating the trenches, shutting down the Cowboys' high-flying offense, getting the win. And the SEC did break the record for 8 bowl victories with this game.
And the Alamo Bowl was quite a game to remember. Now, over the weekend, when the teams are in San Antonio, Trayvon Boykin, the players are allowed to go out at night. They can go to the club, do whatever, as long as they're not being an idiot. Trayvon Boykin goes back to the hotel, all safe and sound, sneaks out, and next thing you know, he's in a bar fight and hits a police officer. So Trayvon Boykin is now gone. And so it was looking good for me and Mike Early. We both predicted Oregon to win, and they're up 31-0 at halftime. And then TCU, probably due to Gary Patterson, the coach, changing his shirt at halftime, they matched the biggest comeback in bowl history, winning in 3 overtimes to beat Oregon 47-41.
Hey, man.
Vernon Adams did get hurt in the middle of the game, too.
The black shirt just wasn't working for TCU. But in the college football playoff, number 1 Clemson dominated in the trenches in the second half and beat down on what appeared to be a tired Oklahoma team in the second half to advance to the national title game. Max, what happened in the other college football playoff?
Alabama ran all over Michigan State, winning 38-0. And Alabama and Clemson do look like the 2 best teams in college football, but Michigan State's offense is just horrible. If you're a Browns fan, you want Connor Cook, don't ever talk to me and go root for the Detroit Lions.
And before we do go into the NFL games, here's a look at the whole state of Alabama right now.
And roll damn Tide. That's all I can say is roll Tide. Roll Tide.
And now we are back to the show where we do go into the NFL, and the playoff matchups have been set, and the Broncos and Patriots get the 2 byes in the AFC, with the Broncos getting a big win over the Bengals to get that bye. The Texans won the AFC South, and they'll be playing the red-hot Kansas City Chiefs, who won 10 games in a row. The Steelers did get some help from the Buffalo Bills, beating the Jets to get into the wild card, and they will be playing the Cincinnati Bengals in the first round, a game I'm really looking forward to watching. Max, what's the NFC playoff picture looking like?
Before that, fun fact for you, Mike. Rex Ryan has coached the Jets team out of the playoffs 5 straight years.
How is that possible?
I don't know, man. It's just kind of funny. That guy is a nut, and it's kind of funny how he's Jets this year when the Jets are in playoff position. But who knows? And in the NFC, the Panthers lost to Atlanta in Week 14. Still got the top seed at 15-1. Cardinals took the 2nd seed despite getting blown out by Seattle in Week 17. But God, did they annihilate the Packers. Oh, my goodness. I didn't think Aaron Rodgers was going to live. And the Vikings clinched the 3rd seed by beating the Packers. And, finally they beat the Packers in a big game. I'll give them credit. But their reward is facing the 2-time reigning NFC champ and a team that already blew them out in Seattle. So, really, the winner of that Vikings-Packers game is the real loser because the Packers have to face Washington.
The Vikings should have tied so they could play Washington.
Yeah. And tie for the division. Who cares? But the Redskins beat the Eagles to win their division, and they take on the Packers. And the Redskins are playing good football right now with Kirk Cousins, who kind of out of nowhere has just been really good.
You like that. You like that. But that will wrap it up for this episode of Season Tickets. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe for more Season Ticket videos.